Welcome to the space for transformational leaders to unleash their magic, see better client results, work lighter, and live source. Hi, I'm Darla Ledoux, founder of Sourced and author of Shift the Field. And today we're going to talk about why being on might be the death of your magic. Have you ever felt like you needed to wait until you were ready, until you were totally on in order to show up for your business, for your marketing, maybe recording a YouTube video or something like that? This has been coming up a lot in our client base, and I want to tease out a new concept that might spark something for you. First, we want to talk about the 3 signs that this might be happening for you. So the first sign is that you are experiencing a kind of a love-hate or a push-pull relationship with bringing in new clients. So on the one hand, you really want to welcome in more clients because you love what you do. That's why you do it. However, there's also this sense of, as I add more clients, that's more of my time that I have to be on when I'm working with them, right? So it might feel kind of heavy, or you have some resistance, even though you'd like more cash flow coming into your business. The second sign is that you have had this thought in your mind, I just need a sabbatical. Like, I just need to go away and heal whatever is coming up for me that's getting in my way of doing this thing. And once I get it all sorted and I'm perfectly in alignment, then I can do my business, right? So if you've ever had that thought, I just need a sabbatical, perhaps this is going on for you, and we're going to talk about what to do about it. The third sign that this idea of being on is getting in the way of your magic is that you are continually delaying your launch. So whatever it is you're launching, if you're doing a big program launch with affiliates and you're thinking, I'm not quite ready to start inviting people yet, or you are doing a new Facebook ad campaign and you know you need to record that automated webinar and you want to wait until it's the perfect time and you're feeling so great, and that just keeps getting pushed out. So if we were in a room together, I'd ask you to raise your hand if any of these things speak to you. If so, this idea of being on might be killing your magic. Now, let's establish what your magic is. Your magic is this inner knowing that is guided by Source that helps you to know your unique path in this life. It also shows up when you work with clients where the knowing comes in about how to actually help them transform. So your sourced magic is available to you whether you are on or not. So I want you to let that sink in. Your magic is available to you whether you're on or not. One of the things that happens is, we think, because this is what we're taught, right? That when we show up for others, we have to be on, we have to perform, we have to get the good grade, we have to give the most amazing speech. And because we're in this world of comparison and comparing ourselves to others. And so if we're not on, we feel like we're at risk of failure. Now, this is all coming from fear, right? This fear-based energy, or this idea that there's only so much to go around, and therefore, if I'm not on, I won't win, right? And really, in caveman terms, I'll be the one to get eaten by the lion. And so we wait until we're ready to compete and be better than and be on. And then here's what happens is we give all of our best stuff to everybody else, and we're never on or showing up for ourselves, right? In fact, this idea of I need a sabbatical to go and heal is like, I only let myself rest if I get sick or depleted or completely overwhelmed, right? And so the only time you're giving time to yourself is when you're totally off. And whenever you're on, you have to give it to someone else. So I want you to think about the consequence of this. Of whenever I'm on, I have to perform. And if I'm off, then I can give myself a break and I can give time to myself. What is that going to create for you if you have this pattern going on? You're going to create a lot of opportunity to be sick so you can have a break, and you're going to be off more often, right? So you can nurture and care for yourself. Because if being on means that you have to give to someone else, of course you're going to be in resistance to that, to always giving your best to everybody else. So here's what I want to propose. I'm going to talk through 3 things we can do about this. 3 ahas that are going to help you bring the magic back. So the first one is, I want you to consider that your magic actually comes alive when in connection with others. Your magic comes alive when in connection with others. And this doesn't mean you're perfect in connection with others. It means you're real in connection with others. And so when, especially in whatever work you do, you're a leader in some way, you're a healer, you're a coach. When you are in this relationship with your client, your stuff moves out of the way and your knowing really comes through. And so if you feel like you have to wait until you're on to even connect with other people, right, to show up, well, that's going to keep getting delayed and keep getting delayed. For me, I have found that showing up, connecting with people exactly as I am, and engaging my energy with theirs, right, brings me to the clarity I need for whatever action that I want to take in my business. Every single time, every single time. The second thing we want to consider is that your magic is always going to lead you at the right pace. In other words, your inner knowing is not going to have you show up somewhere that you're not ready for. It's just not. Why would it? And so if you're feeling pulled, let's say, to start doing lives on Instagram or Facebook, and then the thought is, well, I have to make sure I'm, on in order to do that, and you keep delaying that. No, your magic said go live. Your inner knowing said go live. It's not possible that you're not ready. You just have some preconceived idea of how you've always shown up that you think is the right way to show up that you're waiting for. But what if Source knows better? Source knows you're ready, and that the people watching, they need exactly how you are now. They don't need the perfect version of you that's somewhere down the line. They need the version of you that's exactly as you are now. There's a phrase that I have been teaching in my Retreat and Grow Rich work called earn while you learn. Earn while you learn. And that really is coming from this idea that your magic will always lead you at the right pace. So if you feel in the retreat world, if you feel pulled to lead a retreat, and then you think you have to get it all figured out, all the content perfect, the 182 PowerPoint slides, which is what I had the first time I led a retreat, you're probably going to develop the wrong 182 slides. What if exactly as you are in this timing that you get the nudge to host the retreat is exactly who you need to be to host the retreat? And the process of hosting the retreat is actually going to have the content come through you that people actually need. And then you're going to have the thing that's going to connect with your right client. So earn while you learn means take the step exactly as you are without waiting until you know everything, until you feel like you're on. Which brings me to our final point, point number 3. What if your off is actually enough? What if your off is actually enough? And I'm going to let that sink in. So you have this idea of who you are when you're on and who you are when you're off. And off is never going to feel like it's good enough. And on is often going to be elusive or rare, right? Like these rare windows when I'm on, I have to record the thing. But what if your off is enough? So I had an experience a few years ago where I got some really upsetting personal news right before I had a retreat. I had 16 people coming in from all over the world to retreat with me. And this news, I mean, I was like on the floor, upset. Every cell of my body reacting to what was going on in my personal life for someone else, and having to show up and lead. Now, people were coming, right? I didn't really have a choice but to show up and lead. And here's what happens. Here's how I handled it. I said, okay, who you are in the world, who you've become, all of the work you've done on, some of the things that you can find on this YouTube channel on, your energy and clearing and creating this expansive vibration in yourself and in your life and your physical being. Who you are, even though you're off, is going to be enough to carry this. And here are the words I said: trust your body, trust your vibration. Trust that the vibration that I am, that's integrated into my being, even though my mind is distracted and I'm not my best self, trust that that's enough. And it was. There are things that maybe someone close to me would notice, but really, like, my body and my vibration could carry leading that retreat, even though I wasn't my best self. So what if your off were enough? And I'm going to take this a little bit further. What if when you are off is the exact time that you show up to do the thing that you've been procrastinating? Stay with me. What if when you're feeling off, you get on Facebook Live? What if when you're feeling off, you record that video, you write that post? And what if when you're feeling really on, that's the time you give to yourself? What if you give your creative process your best time? What if you give your self-care your best time? What if you're like, wake up and you're thinking, I am feeling my best. I'm going to go for a hike in nature and commune with nature and feed my soul even more. And I'm going to wait to do the thing that is for others when I'm feeling off. And now, take this with a grain of salt, right? But I want you to flip it on its head and imagine, what would your world be like if that were true? If you didn't have to wait until you were sick to nurture yourself, if you could give yourself the best. And, we've heard this idea of fill your cup and then give from the overflow, right? What if you could really embody that by trusting that being on isn't all it's cracked up to be? And when you're actually off, people might connect with you more, they might love you more, they might feel your authenticity and transparency more. They might be able to connect with you so much better than when you're in your on stage. I'd love to hear how this is resonating for you. How have you experienced the need to be on versus showing up even when you're off? I would love to hear in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.